Hey guys, welcome back to the Rockstar Superhero Podcast. This week we have the incredible superhero Annie Lobert. Annie runs Hookers for Jesus and the Destiny House in Las Vegas, Nevada. She's an amazing woman and she has a real story, a story for the ages. I had a number of questions ready to go, but you know what? When I sat down with her, they all just kind of melted into the background. And I just let her go and let her talk because the truth is, we need to hear what Annie has to share. If you want to know more about Annie, I suggest you check out hookersforjesus.net. On the main page, you can read more about Annie, as well as go deeper on what Destiny House is and does. Her story is there, in all its pain and redemption. It's extraordinary and powerful. So now that you know the basic details, let's talk to the lady. I hope you enjoyed today's special superhero podcast with Annie Lobert. So I guess I'll just say this. Thank you so much for the honor of spending time with me today. I know, according to your group that, you had a very limited amount of time, 15 minutes. And I know you have a tremendously busy schedule. So again, I'm just super honored and joy-filled.
I can make it a little longer. So let's just go.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Well, your story's been shared so often, and I don't think what I don't want to do, Annie, is I don't want to ask the same questions to you over and over because I'm sure.
Yeah. So get creative here. Let's do this. Come.
That's awesome. Okay. So do you mind giving a brief synopsis of where your early life took you? Because I know you ended up, of course, on the streets, and you ended up ultimately under, if you will, the tutelage of a pimp who controlled your life and put you in very, very dangerous situations over and over again. What got you from your family in the Midwest to the streets of Las Vegas?
Oh, there's always a story behind every single act of disobedience.
Yeah.
It's called rebellion.
Yeah.
And because as a child I was abused, my dad was very, very angry, and he abused my brothers and I and my sister, but mostly my mother in front of us children. Oh. So I honestly was raised in a family where I knew it was absolutely wrong to hit your wife, yell, scream. I mean, us kids knew something's wrong. I mean, it's funny because we compared our dad to television in a lot of senses. We would watch these shows on television and these fathers would be great, Yeah. One of my favorite shows was Brady Bunch.
Of course. Isn't that funny too?
Watch it after school every I think 3:00 after get home from school, turn on the Brady Bunch. And then the Partridge Family. So even though those shows were a couple years old at the time, I just really resonated with the family structure of the happiness that they shared and the fun and the joking and the growing up and being teenagers, young kids. And we didn't have that in our family. And our family was very sad and it was very dark. And so I ended up becoming really, really jaded about my father. And so I was looking for love in all the wrong places, obviously. And I started going out to little parties as I was a teenager. And I met a boy and I got my heart broken. I lost my virginity. But prior to that, there was a setup by the devil because I had gotten sexually abused by a girl that I was living close by. And it really changed me. And also, me wanting the love and attention from a boy, it was like an insatiable thirst. I just needed someone to love me. And there was something inside of me that just fantasized about it. Like, oh my gosh, if somebody could love me. I mean, I had this total fantasy. And of course, with that fantasy comes heavy, heavy dopamines in your brain. I don't know if you knew that or not, but even in a lust situation or where you're infatuated with someone, your brain anatomically changes. And as a child, as a teenager, you cannot control your urges.
Yeah.
And I think men and young boys can understand as teenagers because they have sexual urges that they can't a lot of the times control. Their hormones are raging. And same with women. We have hormones that were raging even as teenagers. So I was very attracted to whoever would give me the time of day. But actually, to be honest with you, this is what's really crazy is that I wanted, I'm so sorry.
That's
Can
okay.
you hear me?
We can all handle it.
I wanted to really just have an awesome and real, authentic relationship with someone that cared about me.
Right.
And it drove me. It drove me to these depths of thinking that, okay, if I leave high school, if I leave, and go to college and I get a couple jobs, I'll make a lot of money. I'll be successful. And I was back in my mind, I was thinking that money would attract the right person. Isn't that stupid? And success.
Yeah.
For some reason we think, and that's what actually got me into working 3 jobs, because I was a workaholic, and I ended up going out to the nightclubs with my girlfriend because we were having ladies' night. We were overworked, underpaid, and stressed out, and so going out to the clubs, having a drink was great. It was something that I loved doing, and I loved to dance. And when I drank, I would get pretty buzzed, and I would get out of control. And we met these guys one night, and they were pimps. We didn't know it. Long story short, I ended up not going with the pimp. I did go to Hawaii. I learned how to sell myself without a pimp. But eventually I ended up in a strip club where I was dancing on the stage, and this very handsome man came in, and I didn't realize it, but he was a sex trafficker, AKA pimp. Fell in love with him, and the rest is history. I brought him with me to Las Vegas. The first time I was here, it's called breaking. He broke my spirit and took all my money and beat me up pretty bad and told me he was my pimp. Wow. And this was the rules of the game, and this is what I was going to do from now on. And that's what I actually surrendered to it. I surrendered because I was, first of all, afraid, but second of all, I loved him.
Wow.
I think that was the permeating feeling more than anything else, was the love I had for him.
And it went beyond some form of sexual love. I mean, it wasn't like it was your body was receiving sort of, dopamine and nutrients from that. I mean, it was actually a spiritual, mental love. That's how you felt? Was the thing that your dad never gave you, that sort of idea?
Oh, it was everything and above. He was my best friend.
Wow.
He was my guide, my best friend, my lover, everything.
But he could use you as property, and so clearly he didn't see you the same way. He saw you as property. I thought he did.
I mean, that was the whole trick of the game, is to have the pimp make the girl believe that he loves her. That's the whole trickery of the game.
Wow.
And I honestly did love him with all my heart. I mean, it was obsessive. It was terrible, actually. But he kept beating me, and the beatings got worse. And I would mouth off to him because I didn't believe what he was doing was right. And I ended up eventually leaving him, but it took 5 years. Wow. And I got away, and I met this boyfriend at the club, and one of the fancy shows on the Las Vegas Strip, he was dancing in the show, and he became my pimp later too. Wow. He didn't realize he was as much as I did. He was living off my earnings because he lost his job, but he wasn't the same kind of pimp. But right. In all reality, it was a very physically, mentally, emotionally violent relationship.
Right.
Mostly emotionally and mentally, but there was physical violence as well. And for 10 years, I was in bondage this was crazy. Working as an escort, call girl, what have you, and making all this money, and came down with cancer. Yeah. Lost all my hair. Finally left the last guy. Got into corporate business America with a man that was actually a trick. He was a Japanese American, 3rd generation from Hawaii. Wow. He taught me how to run an office, work in an environment where I would work at a body shop, and we worked on race cars. You ever heard of a Skyline GTR?
Oh boy, do I know a Skyline. Yeah, my wife is Japanese, so I know a lot about Japan. Yeah.
Okay, so we had an R32 and an R33.
Oh my gosh.
Right-hand drive.
Nice.
Right-hand drive. We imported them from Japan. And we had a shop, and we were racing cars. It was great for a while. And I was off drugs. I had gotten on drugs right before I left prostitution and sex trafficking. But my friend taught me how to work this art. For 8 years, we had this business. But the first 3 or 4, we were very successful. We were making a lot of money. And our business failed, basically, overnight. And I went right back to what I knew what was going to make me feel better, which was getting cocaine in my system, popping pills.
Wow.
And it was terrible. I started working down on the Strip again. I started selling myself again. My friend found out. He was devastated. One night he got depressed. I mean, I'm like, let's get some drugs. And I got high, and one night, actually 2 nights that week, I overdosed. Oh. And, corporate America can't fill your heart.
No.
A love of another person can't fill your heart. Money can't fill your heart. I was so empty. And so I craved so many different things. And that night on August 2nd, 2003 is when I overdosed. This is when I actually surrendered my life completely to Jesus. And I'll tell you what, I never regret it. I have never went back. It's been 13 years. It'll be 14 soon. I am just free. I know who I am. I'm beautiful. I'm chosen. I'm loved.
I love it.
I don't care what people think. I love my life. I'm married now to a man named Oz Fox from the band Stryper.
Yes.
If anyone doesn't know who that is, look up Stryper. Go to Stryper.com. And I do ministry full time. I started doing Hookers for Jesus in 2005, reaching out to the women on the Las Vegas Strip that were sex trafficked. And then I opened up our first home in 2008 called called Destiny House. And I got a new property about 3 years ago. It's larger and better and bigger. And so I've been running the nonprofit for approximately 10, 11 years now.
Wow.
A decade.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's hard work. Let me tell you that right now. It's not easy. I deal with hundreds, if not thousands of women every couple months. I mean, it's crazy. But we have women that come into our Destiny House that stay here for a year. They can stay a little longer if they want. Before they leave, they have vocational training, specialty, college, whatever that looks like. And then they end up getting a job before they leave. And their life is restored. Their dreams are rediscovered. Their discovery of who they are in Christ is found here. And they develop into beautiful women of God that leave here ready to change the world. And that's why we call it Destiny House. It's to dream, discover, develop into your perfect destiny that God has for you.
Yeah, I love that so much. When I watched your I Am Second video, so I'm a pretty emotional person, and even though I didn't live, even though I didn't live the life you lived, I struggle with sex addiction myself, and I still struggle with it. And it's definitely my deepest, darkest thing. It's a fight constantly. I always wonder why. I feel like God programmed me, like it's his fault. You know what I mean? And then I think about times when I was young, not by my parents. I can't place it. But I had to have been molested sometime in my life. I had to have been, because I can remember things that I can't put a face to. I can't explain the sexual proclivities, but they exist, and they're embedded in me as a stronghold. And I know it comes from we've talked. I mean, not talked. Excuse me. We've read, biblically, the talk about biblical strongholds and how the sins of the father are passed down from generation to generation. And if you look back in my family's life, there's a tremendous amount of sexual sin loss. It's an incredibly terrible thing and distressing. And I want to be the last generation that carries that. So when I saw your story, when I heard about you from my friend Garrick Pang, who I believe you spoke to with Stronger Families, and then watched your video, I bawled and bawled and bawled. I cried the whole time. It was so profound and moving because I identify so much with what you've gone through, and I love the joy that you've received and that you choose to live your life through now, and I think it's wonderful. And so I wanted to ask you this, and this might be a little heartbreaking, but I do want to ask. I noticed you named Destiny House after a miscarried child. Is this correct? And
Yes.
I too have lost children. I've also been privy to abortion in my life and the pain that has brought in the women that have had them. And so I guess all I wanted to say was thank you so much for honoring your child inside of this beautiful mission that you've created. I love it. I think it's just fabulous, and I know there's no question in it. I just wanted to tell you how wonderful and lovely it is. It's beautiful, and I don't know you at all, but I am so happy that your story could just touch me, let alone anybody else. And the fact that you have these thousands of women that you're going to on the streets, or that that are coming in from the side, that have heard about what Destiny House and what Hookers for Jesus is doing, is massive. And I want to get behind every inch of your nonprofit. I want to do everything I can to support that, both economically, marketing, and I get it, you got your own thing. But I am happy as rockstar superhero, whatever that is, to build that and grow that for you. And I wanted to make sure you knew that.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, Robert. That means a lot. I was going to say that, Destiny, yes, that was a baby that I lost. And unfortunately, it's the last time I was pregnant. I believe that, God had better plans for that child. Unfortunately, when I lost that baby, I was heavily addicted to drugs. Didn't know I was pregnant, actually, until the day of the miscarriage. Oh, crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's terrible.
And then that's the thing, is that little child didn't have a chance. It was already too late. But these women, God is giving them second chances.
Yeah.
So I know that the Lord has that child and my aborted children and my other miscarriages in heaven right now as we speak.
Yes. Yes.
So, it's really awesome.
Yes, it is awesome. What I love about the Lord is that he loves you so much, and that free will he allows us. He'll let you walk all the way to the edge of the abyss. But because he knew, right, Annie, because he knew you would choose him, that he grabs you and he won't let you fall in. Mm-hmm. He claimed you,
right?
And that is such an extraordinary thing. And look at you now, right? More beautiful than ever, more focused than ever, married to a great guy who is behind every second of everything you do, right? Really, truly honors and loves. I am curious about that, if you don't mind. Can I touch on Oz real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know anything about how you met. Of course, I know a lot about Stryper. I'm a childhood fan. I mean, you and I are actually the same age, and we could talk about Stryper forever, but this is an interview about Stryper. But how did you two meet? And did he have to overcome a past as well? And how did he overcome your past to come into a relationship with you?
Yeah, Oz has some childhood memories that aren't so pleasant, and his life in itself. But he didn't have to overcome, meeting me or dealing with my past, because he was already in the right frame of mind when he met me.
That's awesome.
He was prepared to take on me and my past. And also with me, there was really no baggage, because I was, set free.
Right.
So
right.
If anything, it's a learning tool for him. And I get that question a lot, where women say, well, how can you find someone that's going to love you for you? You know what? Don't look. They're going to find you.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go chasing after men to try to get them to love us. That was one of my biggest mistakes in my life, was chasing after men. Yeah. I don't think it's a great idea to be aggressive like that. I do believe that just like when Ruth was gleaning the fields in Boaz's fields, he saw her. He said, that's the girl for me. She's Canaanite, but guess what? My mom was a prostitute. That doesn't bother me one iota. I love her.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that one. She's beautiful. Looks like she's got a heart of gold. She's a hard worker. And that's who we need to be. Women out there listening right now, you need to be a Ruth. Yeah. You need to be submitted to God and his plan. Just be about doing God's business. Go glean the fields, and God will take care of the rest. That's
awesome. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I hope that question didn't offend you, because that wasn't meant. I'm sure you've been asked it a million times as well.
No. I get a lot of people asking me about my past, and can a man love you? I honestly, if a man is struggling with your past, frankly, that's a done slam dunk question. He's not the guy for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye, Felicia. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, I wouldn't give the guy the time of day. If he's judging you come on, dude. No, I'm not that desperate to get you to want me because you can't handle my past.
Yeah.
To me, you got a limited, tiny brain if you can't handle my past.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're very,
I'm
very
arrogant in that fashion. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I know you're very active, obviously with your foundation. Do you still actively work the streets to find women in distress? Are you out there personally, or is it more of a staff
absolutely.
thing?
We're actually doing outreach next week. Yes.
Wow.
Yep, we're doing our Thanksgiving outreach soon. I love it. I think that is exactly what started this ministry, was going out to the street. I don't even want to call it outreach. We're just going out, walking the street, and we're just going to tell people Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
He loves you so much. If you're stuck in this, you're trapped, there's a way out. Here's a gift bag, and you know what? You're beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone ever tell you different. You are so beautiful inside and out, and God sees your heart.
I love that. I love that. I have something I call the 97-3 rule. You've heard of the 80-20 rule, right? The Pareto principle. Have you heard that?
The what principle?
The Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule.
20% is going to hate you and 80% is going to like you?
Well, it's the idea that 20% of the world is going to do 80% of the work. It's the idea that if you put 100 people in the room, 20 people are actually going to do something. The other 80, you're going to sit around and wait for the 20 people to do something. Okay?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's a real mathematical thing. It really does happen consistently over and over again. But I believe there's an 80-20 rule inside of that, okay? I call it the 97-3 rule. And I believe that everybody in the world is 97% badass at something, okay? You've discovered your badassery, as it were, okay? The thing that makes you amazing, the thing that you were created for, the thing that makes you tick, your purpose and your passion. But there's 3% that people don't do. And again, this is just my silly little thing, right? But what doesn't Annie Lobert do well? What don't you do well that you need others to help you with?
What don't I do well?
Yeah.
I think relax, like as far as take a vacation.
Okay.
I'm always working, so need some prayer on that. We need more people to come alongside us and support us and donate financially and, start other offices in other cities. We really need that. That would be wonderful. And I love working, though. Am I a workaholic? No, not necessarily. Do I love my job? Absolutely. So there's a difference. Is my job destroying me? No. I mean, am I getting thin? Am I getting sick? Am I losing sleep all the time? Not, absolutely not. I love my life. I work hard, and I want to learn how to play just as hard.
Sure.
Yeah.
So do you find the only time you play is when you're with Oz, when he's on tour?
Usually. With him, that's the only time I can really relax.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me outside of that to relax. So,
well, I can tell.
I
can tell you need to go. I can tell.
Yeah.
Let me ask you real quick. Can you just tell the listeners where can we go to serve your mission and what are you looking for? Like any final thoughts?
Yeah. You can go to hookersforjesus.net. So HOOKERSFORJESUS.net, like fishnet. And it's based on Matthew 4:19. I will teach you how to fish for people. So don't get the name twisted and think that, we're selling our bodies for Jesus. We're not. But don't get your panties all in a wad or whatever. And you can just go to there underneath contact. There's volunteer opportunities. There's, employment opportunities as well. And donate. And you can also, if you'd like to donate, if you can't help us by working for us or working with us by volunteering, you can certainly donate and help us because we are not government funded at this time. And we rely solely on private donations, and we need as much as we can get. And I don't even pay myself right now.
Yeah.
I paid myself for 8 months in 2014, and then I fired myself.
Wow.
Because I can't afford to pay myself. So Please pray for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I tell tell you that I would be happy to help you out in the Seattle area if you want to put a ministry up here. If there's any way that, this is a new location, I'm happy to help you create something. So stay in touch with me.
That'd be great. If you could talk to some people and Robert and find some women that are passionate, I'd love to have a meeting about that. I think we could really do something.
Excellent. Well, I promise to do that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Annie Lobert. And you're amazing and lovely and beautiful. And thank you for being just so open and candid. Thank you.
You don't want a revolution, just to sing along. This is my institution, and it's called rock and roll.